All right. Welcome to our very first review, and we're doing Tusk by Kevin Smith.
Yes.
What did you think? Okay, how should we really start this?
Well, so we should begin by saying that this is our first review ever. Historical.
So thank you for joining us for
yes.
this very first special occasion.
January 31st, 2015.
Yeah, it is.
We've been planning this for like how much?
Oh, no,
how
it's
long
not.
now?
Is that the right time?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like February 1st.
Happy embolic.
Yes. Embolic aneurysms. So, we decided to critique movies because we enjoy film and we have a lot of criticism on movies.
We have a lot of criticism in general.
Yes.
But movies as well. And, we pay attention to them, I think. And we watch enough movies to understand, I guess, what we're seeing.
Screenwriting and acting and direction and editing and all that. Right. So
that being said,
the first movie we're doing is Tusk by Kevin Smith, directed and produced and written, I believe, or not produced entirely probably, but written by Kevin Smith and directed by Kevin Smith,
right,
who's made such great films as Clerks and
Red State,
and good movie.
The one we were talking about earlier, Daredevil.
He did Daredevil. Okay, so that leads us into this movie.
This is Daredevil Part 2.
Right. So, yeah. I'll let you start.
Okay. So, starting with a little bit of the facts. This movie is starring Jason Long and Haley Joel Osment in the first thing he's been in since AI, I think. Has
Probably.
he been in anything since then?
I think he did the movie with Robert Duvall and the other old guy, Michael Douglas.
You're right. Secondhand Lions. I love that movie.
Right.
Okay, we should have done that one. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That is a great movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
He looks freaky.
Oh, I guess as long as the red light keeps flashing, I still have battery.
We got this.
Unless that's a low battery light.
Oh, God. Well,
that would be funny. So, yes, this movie, let's see, starts off, and it goes and it ends.
So, we have our main characters, Justin Long and Haley Joel Osment, who have this radio or podcast show. And I don't even know what the concept of their show is, but I guess Justin Long goes to Canada to interview a legless guy, I think.
Yeah, they're interviewing the...
which is kind of funny. Actually,
because he ended up losing his leg.
Right.
I was actually thinking about that. Okay, so not to ruin that part for anyone, but he goes to Canada to interview this guy. They're called the Nazi Party. It's not C Party.
Notsee.
Thank you.
Right.
And one of them goes and interviews people and sees this crazy stuff and whatever, and then he tells the other one about it who did not see what happened. So it's a weak premise. It's cheesy, but okay, so he goes there and he's checking out this this web, what do you call it? Web star? YouTube star?
Right. Yeah.
Who accidentally cut his leg off playing around with a sword. And
Which is funny.
It
is funny.
To an extent.
Yeah.
But he goes, and the kid... How much do we tell? Do we just kind of
he commits suicide. I mean...
Yeah, that's right off in the beginning of the movie.
There's some movies you don't want to spoil the ending or any of the plot twists. There's no plot twist. No, there's not.
I was expecting one. I really was. Because everything was so, upfront with it. And even when he, so he goes and this guy killed himself. So he has nothing to do. He's in Manitoba. He's like, I gotta find someone here in Canada who's interesting, but I'm in the middle of nowhere in Canada. So what do I do? And he goes to a bar, he gets drunk, he takes a leak, and while he's standing there at the urinal, he sees this advertisement for this guy who's renting a room. He's lived this extraordinary life and has all these stories, rent-free, whatever. He's like, I don't care about the rent, I want the stories. And he goes and he talks to this guy. And even right there, even before that, like the jokes and the dialogue, like, I don't know, maybe it was just me. The dialogue throughout the whole movie was just, I don't know, speaking about secondhand, I mean, there was no thought put into it, and really, if it weren't those actors, it could have been much worse. I think the actors did a decent job at delivering terrible lines.
The actors did a good job with what they had presented to them. Yeah, that's a good point, because this movie was not presented correctly. I mean, the premise itself could have been interesting if the main character and his ugliness and his just his plain I guess his character was weak and all that is presented differently. It could have been a little better, a lot better, I'm sorry. Just the whole thing was presented just incorrectly, honestly. Like you said, the writing was subpar, especially for somebody like Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Who's made really great movies. So he goes and he meets this Howard Howe and regales him with all these tales about Ernest Hemingway and all these other things, and the story about the walrus and all this, and gets drugged basically in his tea and wakes up with his leg cut off, which so you kind of start thinking, oh, maybe this story will get interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why I was expecting, like, a twist, because it was so basic, and you're just like, okay, so where's the, we haven't reviewed it yet, maybe we will, but Red State. It really just, it goes left, and...
so to speak.
But...
Which I was still disappointed with the ending of that movie.
Really?
Actually, let's not diverge.
Yeah, let's not,
I kind of thought
really
it would be... it was a great movie, don't get me wrong, but I thought, like, if they went the other way with the ending...
Oh, that they would keep going and stay with that other ending.
I would like...
That would have been awesome. That would have been interesting. It really would have.
It was still a good movie.
I don't know why they didn't, but, yeah. With this one... Okay, so... Obviously, if you ever watch it, you know it's about the crazy guy tries to turn the character, Justin Long, into a human walrus. And I will say one thing, and it goes back to I think not only the makeup. So for the most of the movie, like, I was painfully aware it's a set. Everything is so clean, everything is so perfect and prim, and, like, I don't know, it was a little too much. They could have made this movie a lot cheaper had they just gone on location somewhere. But
were they on location? I don't even know.
I don't think so.
It was very derogatory to Canadians, I actually thought.
Yeah, but, they're Canadians.
But we're Americans, so we do that. So.
Well, I think that was part of it. But I think, first of all, he was meant to be a douche anyways. That's his character.
And I think that's the main problem with the movie, is like...
There's no one to grab onto?
He wasn't presented as... Even if it's presented later in the movie, like... It wasn't really brought out like this is a redemption movie or this is some kind of like Tales from the Crypt.
No, this movie has no story.
No.
This movie is, and if you listen to the very end when Kevin Smith is talking, it's two guys who were high, and they said, dude, what if someone made someone a walrus? And I said, that'd be fucking cool. And they said, let's make a movie about it. Well, I'm not sure. Let's see how many people will post the hashtag YesWalrus or hashtag YesWalrus or whatever. And then they made the movie and wrote the story around that. I really think that was the whole point of it. And they're like, yeah, let's have these two guys, or this guy is a walrus, and then have a fight and this and that. I mean, I don't think they were trying to tell any story though. I don't think they were trying. I mean, there's no character change. There's no realization.
There's no learning
redemption,
from this.
There's no.
It's the character doesn't go through any Justin Long's character doesn't go through any kind of development.
Cheating.
There's nothing. It's not like he learns a lesson. I mean, well, he probably learns a lesson at the end when he's eating mackerel. But I mean, the thing about this movie is like it's kind of like a Tales from the Crypt kind of story, where it's always like the character who's evil or does something bad to somebody gets it in the end. And that's kind of what it seems like that's what they were going for in this movie, but it just didn't pay off at all. I mean,
not only that, but he wasn't that bad of a guy. Okay, he cheats on his girlfriend and he makes fun of people who put themselves on the internet doing stupid stuff, like cutting off their leg.
It was like kind of an exercise. It was like an exercise in the absurd, but not done correctly. It was like it didn't even have that kind of feel like this is like tongue in cheek or this is like a joke.
Right.
It was like, is this a joke? Like I kept asking myself that the whole time in the movie, like, is this a joke or is this real?
See, and I was thinking the same thing because I didn't know either. I didn't know where they were going to go with it. Is it something they're going to make this twist and it's going to take a point and it doesn't have to be poignant exactly, but just to have some kind of meaning behind it. And I'm waiting for that point. I'm waiting for that one little hook. It could have been one word that they threw in somewhere to be like, there's no moment that ever does that. In this
it was
movie.
like one of those possible stories of revenge or redemption, but it just never really was fulfilled because you never really identified with... I mean, I didn't feel like I identified with the main character.
Did you identify with any of the characters? I know I didn't.
Maybe the girlfriend, because, I mean, we've all been treated like that.
Yeah.
And, it's just... It was odd.
Yes.
And it was a weird movie.
And you're going to end up on it if you come in here.
And it wasn't funny. I just didn't think it was funny. I didn't think it was like a dark humor movie. I didn't think it was like any of that.
I think we both laughed, 3 times?
Maybe.
2 or 3 times?
No, 3.
2. Was it 3 times?
3 times.
Yeah. Because there were a couple of semi-funny parts, but
there was a couple funny lines in it.
And I still swear that's Johnny Depp.
It was Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp as the inspector or whatever.
Clouseau?
Yeah, he's like a French-Canadian dude. It was definitely Johnny Depp. He's not credited, apparently, according to the credits in the movie. But the fact that they brought all this together in this movie and it didn't pay off was kind of disappointing. And especially Kevin Smith, not to say all his movies are great or perfect, but, like, it just didn't do it at all.
No.
Even his worst movie is, like, I don't know.
What's his worst movie?
Well, maybe
this?
This might be the one, actually. Yeah. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry, Kevin Smith.
No, I love Kevin Smith.
I love Kevin Smith and
Comic Book Man. Yeah, I can't watch that.
Neither can I. No, I'm not into that show either.
No.
But
Kevin Smith himself and the stuff he does, and he makes some really great movies.
He does.
And there's the. Well, I don't want to get off on a tangent talking about Red State or talking about him with the what's that church? The there was I don't know if it was a movie or a podcast or what I was listening to, but it was Kevin Smith Goes to Hell.
Oh.
Where he talks about the making of Red State and some other stuff, and he's got some cool ideas.
He's
a really
smart guy.
Stuff sometimes.
He's a smart guy. I think this was probably an idea in his mind. It sounded good on paper, and it just didn't work out. I think it just really didn't work out.
Okay.
It could have been if somebody else had done this movie, if Stanley Kubrick had done this movie.
Stanley Kubrick?
Nah, I'm just making.
Clive Barker?
Clive Barker, but even Clive Barker would have been way too twisted for this. I mean, this isn't even
well,
like
it would have been better.
it wasn't twisted enough. I mean, it was very. It just didn't go far enough, and it I don't know what it was about this movie.
Okay, so here's one of the things I was gonna say. I did feel kind of a visceral reaction to seeing him in that suit the first time. Once he's the walrus, I'm just like, holy God.
Well, even that was kind of quick, though. Like, the cutting from him starting the surgery to being a walrus and getting his legs cut off, it just kind of transitioned way too quickly into him being a walrus.
It did. And maybe that's part of the visceral nature of it, where it's just like, boom, it's done. You're like, oh.
Yeah,
whoa.
I didn't think it hit us I didn't think it hit us deep enough. And it was kind of a silly movie. I think if it had been done differently, maybe it would have worked, but I just don't think it worked.
Martin Scorsese?
Yeah, a lot of fast cuts, stuff like that. Yeah, that would have been way different. A lot of music from the 70s, that would have worked.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, this movie is, I have to give it, I don't think I would recommend this to anybody.
So, we didn't talk about this. I was thinking about rating movies in a way, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. No, I don't like that. But, because that's too basic.
It is.
There's
not enough grading.
Stars are too basic. Like, I can give it 4 stars, but why? Like, what I'm thinking is,
remember, this is our first preview.
Yes, this is our first preview. We're still working out the kinks and everything, and we're kinkily working out.
There's kids in the background.
Kids in the background. Sorry about that.
Sorry, we're just getting my Pokemon cards.
Okay. But what I was thinking is kind of like categorizing the movies, too. So, because there are some movies that are just fun. They may